Some New York papers called a redefinition of marriage historic, but how historic will the negative impact be on Christians who respectfully disagree? This is the CitizenLink Report. I'm Stuart Shepard along with Bruce Hausknecht, our judicial analyst. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Stuart.
As they were debating this in New York, before the final vote was taken late Friday, there was a lot of discussion about the addition of religious exemptions to this bill. And that was apparently a sticking point for some of the lawmakers who eventually flipped and went ahead and voted for this. Is that something we should be happy about, that religious exemptions were included in this?
No, we should not be happy about it. They did not go anywhere near far enough.
Yeah. Who's exempted from what? I mean, as far as what they put in there, who is protected somewhat?
Primarily religious organizations, churches, or other types of affiliated organizations like the Knights of Columbus. So they're protected from having to perform same-sex marriages or host the wedding reception in their hall. Those kinds of things are exempted.
Which is somewhat good news, but still it kind of is, there's a cultural shift going on in New York here that's going to be negative for churches in general. For example, if we know specifically who's exempted, we can also pretty much determine who's not exempted, who's not protected from this law. Here's a couple of examples. What about a Christian wedding photographer?
Sorry, not exempted.
And what does that mean? I mean, how would that play out?
That means, and we saw this case actually happen in New Mexico. That is when a lesbian couple comes and asks a wedding photographer, happens to be Christian, to photograph their wedding in New York. And the Christians say, no, well, sorry, that would go against our beliefs and our rights under the Constitution. They will be held guilty of discrimination.
Taken into court.
And taken to court.
All right. What about parents who don't want a public school teaching their children in the classroom, as young as we've seen this in kindergarten, about a view of relationships that's out of sync with God's design for marriage?
Yeah, unfortunately, this bill does not protect parental rights with regard to their children's education. So whatever the schools want to teach about it, and we've seen that happen in Massachusetts after same-sex marriage became legal there. The kids will be taught as early as kindergarten that homosexuality is just fine.
And that one went to court as well, and the courts basically said your rights as a parent end at the schoolyard gate. I mean, you have no influence on what's taught in the school because the government knows better.
That's right. In fact, one federal judge in Massachusetts went so far as to say it's good that we catch them early so we can indoctrinate them.
Wow. So it's correct to say that while some and very specifically identified religious organizations are exempt, Christian people are not exempt.
Yes. Individuals and their beliefs, strongly held or not, are not exempted, not protected anymore in New York.
We got a note. We have some friends on Facebook who like to tell us we're wrong about everything, which we enjoy getting their comments as long as they're respectful. Gemma wrote to us and she said, we're not asking to change the definition of marriage because our marriages are covered by the existing definition. I'm not quite sure where she gets that thought, but she goes on, all we're demanding is that our marriages are recognized in law and get the same rights and responsibilities as other marriages. You're free to say what you want, she writes. You're free to think and believe as you want. But you're really not.
No, you're not. The way this is heading, the way New York has joined the chorus of 5 other states that have legislated gay marriage or had it imposed upon them by the courts, is that Christian conscience will fall. It will be punished essentially by the state anytime it comes into conflict with these supposed rights to same-sex marriage.
What about the First Amendment? Does it come into play here? I know a lot of people are wondering that.
It should, but many years ago, the Supreme Court decided that if the law was a, quote, neutral law and applied to everybody, not just churches or religious people, then it did not run afoul of the First Amendment's religious clauses.
Governor Andrew Cuomo wasted no time signing this. It was signed late Friday night, right after it was passed, which is unusual in and of itself. But that started a clock running. This law is set to take effect 30 days after it's signed by the governor.
That's right.
We're a few days into that, but there's a window of opportunity here for a court challenge to be filed. Is there anything that can be challenged?
Potentially. We know, even from some of the reporting that our sources have done at CitizenLink and Family News in Focus, that there were a lot of irregularities in the passage of this bill. There were the senators were locked into the chambers. They could not make calls out. They were not allowed to debate this bill. and everything had to be done so that the 11 o'clock news could report that there was same-sex marriage in New York.
Yeah.
We don't know if those were just procedural irregularities or whether they violated some of their constitutional requirements in New York. If they did violate those constitutional rights and procedures, yeah, there could be a lawsuit that might be able to knock this bill off.
And from a legal sense, what you'd be looking for is for a judge to say, while this is being heard, we won't let this law take effect, an injunction.
Right. Yeah, that's what we would hope for, is that the effect of this would be stopped pending the outcome of any case.
Before we let you go, I want to hear your encouragement for Christian families in New York. How would you encourage them now?
Well, you need to step up and protect your individual rights, because this bill has essentially tried to take them away. You need to get involved in the political process, in the public policy process. You have the power to do that. You have the numbers to do that.
Legislative bodies can pass laws, but legislative bodies later can also unpass those laws, if you will.
That's right. This is a continuing battle.
All right. Bruce, thank you for your thoughts, your insight. Appreciate the fact that you tracked this so well.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. We always appreciate hearing your comments and suggestions, your encouragement, or your criticism. You may always write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. We encourage you to pray for the people in New York as they're trying to make their way through this difficult time up there. Pray for the elected officials up there as they think about what they've done with their state and as they ponder the future for New York. And remember, stand tall and be heard.